Look, I'm already messing up. So we are streaming live for the first time. Let me.
Hey y'all.
We gotta
Hey. I
come
ain't
up with
never
some
went
type of
live
entrance.
before.
You have it?
No, I haven't. This is my first time going live. Wow.
Okay, let me turn. Oh.
Oh.
Okay, but I like to. Maybe I should turn the camera this way so it can kind of see
Oh.
both of
Oh.
us. Okay.
Okay. Excuse the singing. That's not what we're here for.
Okay, so here we are live late. However late, it is 9:39, but we tried it. But life happens around the house. And this is our first time doing this just to try to have um, a conversation, right? So about this new news or this new situation that everyone has kind of, not everyone, but a lot of people have watched us go through. And I know people maybe have questions or want to hear a little bit more about the story, how this came to be, and like where we are in the process, like how we're dealing with it, right? So,
Hmm.
no better time than the present to discuss it since we are both here together in Atlanta.
Y'all, do we look alike for real? Do we look like sisters?
Look, and we both have on our glasses today. Can't take the glasses off. I can't
No,
see
I
today, and
can't
I'm
see a lick.
just not comfortable right now, but maybe
So,
next time.
so it further shows that we're sisters because why? Because we're both blind. Thank you, Grammy. Thank you, pre Grammy. Thank you, whoever it was that allowed us to have these lovely pupils that don't actually work.
All right. So,
Hi.
so let's talk about how it all started. Like, how did we get here? This one is funny here. So look, so we've known each other for many, many years. We come from a small town and a small school within a small town with two small schools, the grade school and high school. So we've known each other all our lives. We never would have thought that this would have been the case. I always thought that when children were born, I don't really know what they did in 1969 and 1968, but when they, whatever, the Catholic Charities people or whatever, I always thought they worked hard to put the children with people out of state or somewhere far away so it wouldn't be like an issue. So it's just very interesting that all this happened. So how did this come to be that we get to be 52 and 53 years old and we
Right.
just found out that we actually come from the same womb? What happened?
Ooh, let's see. My friend, and I'm going to say her name, Manuela Jackson, and Karen Jackson. I guess they got tired of me talking about I didn't know who my people were or I didn't have family. And these were my stand in sisters at the time. These were my placeholder sisters at the time. And as a Christmas gift, they gave me an Ancestry DNA kit. Spit, put it in the mail December 28th, 2020. Not really sure what was going to come back. I started getting these little trinkets, third cousins, fourth cousins. And I'm starting to get kind of upset because I'm like, somebody knows something. But then again, hindsight is in our communities, we don't always talk about what goes on in our families. So people were like, yeah, I see that we're connected on Ancestry DNA. I just don't know how. What? So I got frustrated with it. And then lo and behold, I get an email that says you have a new match. And I'm like, man, whatever. It's probably a sixth cousin or whatever. But it turned out that it said 50% DNA, parent slash child. Those of you that know me know that I have not birthed any children.
Okay, cool.
And it had a name next to it. It said Anita Swift Savage. And I said, "Oh my God, do I know this name? I know this Swift name from somewhere." I said, I gotta find out if this is the part of the Swift that I know." So I contacted uh, my good friend, and I'm sorry, not Angie Conrad, Lois Jackson, Angie. I called her and I was like, "Look, girl,
I need to set this up because it
look,
looks weird.
girl,
I can't read it.
it's look, girl. I just got information that Anita Swift Savage is my mother." I said, "Can you do some investigation for me while you're in Illinois and let me know what's up?" And I said, and whatever you find out, I'm ready to hear. Just call me back and let me know." That girl called me back within a half an hour, and she was quiet. And I was like, "Angie, what's wrong?" And she said, "Yeah, that's your mother." And you talk about sheer, utter amazement, disbelief, happiness, sadness, joy, pain, fight, win, everything, everything. And I reached out to Shanice just to send her a note to let her know what I knew. And it just so happened she was in California with Imani and the City Girls. And she was able to come to Phoenix where I was, I'm bi-coastal now. Anyway, she came to Phoenix where I was with my friends, and we went out to dinner, and we sat down and we talked and we laughed and we had a really good time. And I met my nieces for the first time, and it felt so different to be a part of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've always been invited into families. I've always been included in families, especially after I thought that my parents were gone. But to see my blood, to see somebody's nose that looked like me, the first picture, the first conversation that I had with my birth mother was to reach out to her via Facebook or Messenger. And I asked her if she had taken the DNA ancestry, and she was like, yes. And I said, well, I need to show you something. So, in my wonderful computer capabilities, I screenshotted the results and I sent them to her. And it didn't take long before she responded back. And she responded with three things. Do you have a birth? No, this is what she said. Were you adopted? Do you have a birthmark? And were you born in 1969? Two of those I knew the direct answer to. Yes. But this birthmark thing, oh yeah, had no idea that that's what this dark spot is.
Which is
Had
basically the same birthmark that she has.
in the same spot as my mother. Duh.
Yeah. So, the whole thing, kind of sidebar with ancestry DNA. I think a lot of people are doing it. It's cool. A lot of people want to hear about like where they come from, what they're made of. But there are real life, present, current circumstances that come with finding out. Imani, you like all in here too, like we hear you. And I'm like, okay, but anyway.
Y'all decided.
This
Y'all should have known this when you decided to do this.
this is real life live at home. But no, so you have to, think there are real life.
Y'all should Y'all should join each other's live. Like you should send her an invitation
She
so it
don't
could
be
show
on
up as both of y'all.
Instagram.
Oh.
Thank you. We're not going to do this that young at the moment. We're doing it like old people do. Thank you. Get out.
so so anyway, I just wanted to say there are real life consequences to these kids and things, and so I think we're a pretty good example of that. Like, oh look, she said, oh look at here. Hey Kim, I see everybody telling me, mommy, yeah, they just all I mean, she just all in our sauce. But anyway, there are real life consequences to these things, like when you do these kits. And like in our situation, at least from my perspective, and Earlene talk about her perspective, it's not a bad thing. And she was ready for it. So I think that's important. I want to say Earlene told me that she always knew that she was adopted. I'm not sure that I knew that when we were coming up in grade school, but she always knew that she was adopted. And for the record, I always knew, as far back as I can remember, I knew that my mother had a child before me, even though I never saw any evidence of it. It was talked about enough, and she has always been a person to overshare, especially to her own children. So I always knew about
Oh,
it.
that's a good way to put that.
Yeah, I would
You're
say
right.
overshare.
Yeah, you're right.
So I knew about it, but I never saw it. So it became like a legend. And I always thought, then once whoever the child that she had before me, then when they were 18 or 21, if they really wanted to meet their parents, then they or whatever, this person would appear. And the years went by, no one ever appeared. And then she said that the baby had heart problems, so we don't even know if the child lived or anything. So I kind of just, it was sort of out of sight, out of mind. And as we'll begin to talk about, I just kind of went through life having my own experiences with um, my mom at the time and just not knowing. So getting back to the original thing, saying Earlene was ready. She always knew she was adopted. She wasn't interested. I think you said you weren't interested in finding out who your birth parents were initially.
I'm gonna say this. It's not that I wasn't interested. It's just that uh, I came along doing the Oprah Winfrey, Donahue, Dinah Shore, all of those type shows. So I've seen a lot of shows in which adoptions reunited can be jacked up, But I never felt a disconnect as far as, I need to find out who this person is.
Hmm.
Because I had always been provided a family, and part of me was like, if she wanted to find me, she could probably find me too. So
Hmm.
it wasn't really something that I was looking to finish, but at the same time, now looking back, I realized that it's been an issue. But I was told right up front, you were adopted. And my maternal grandmother told me that the reason why I was in the family was because uh, they bought me. And I was shocked to find out. The story that I got, the backstory that I got, was that my mother, my adopted mother, was not able to have children. And at 47, she adopted me. My father was 42. That's on the birth certificate. Um, but I later, I always knew that my birth mother was a nurse.
Not your
And
birth mother.
I'm
Your
sorry,
birth mother definitely wasn't no nurse.
you're right. That's another show altogether. that,
I'm gonna be good. Okay,
that
let's keep going.
that's another show altogether. Whew, okay, shake it off. Anyway, my adoptive mother, I always knew that she was a nurse because I remember playing with her stethoscopes back in the day. And I remember her LPN pen and things like that. So I had to go back after I found out about my birth mother giving birth to me in a place called Catholic Charities. I had to go back to I had to go back old school to open up things that people didn't talk about. And although my godmother was my adoptive mother's best friend to the end, I think she still might have felt some kind of a way when I came to ask her questions. And I didn't ask questions where that I was hoping she would feel like she betrayed my mother in any way. But I had to ask her. I said, and I called my aunt's name. I said, did Gladys Hampton work with the Catholics? Uh, and unwed mothers. And she began to talk and get ready. And I said, this is not the time for all of that. Just tell me, did my adoptive mother, Gladys Hampton, did she work for the Catholics? And she said, yes, she did. And I said, thank you very much. And at that point, I went back to the story, and I say that story uh, figuratively, that my birth mother had given me, that I was taken out of her arms in lieu of having to get a breathing treatment because I was born with issues. My birth mother told me that my issues were breathing and asthma, but after I met my auntie from my birth mother's live sister, she said I was born with a hole in my heart.
Mhm.
That's deep.
Hmm.
For me, it's really deep because I have literally, for figuratively. Which one is it, Nisi?
Figuratively, now what you're saying.
Figuratively. Okay, figuratively, I have a hole in my heart.
Mhm.
And I thought it would be filled once I met my mother. Baby, boom, boom. You know, when boom, boom, that hole just got boom, boom,
That's almost funny, but
boom,
not
boom,
really.
boom,
Um,
boom,
right. So
boom.
again, so just to retrack, and some people just came in the room. So you got an ancestry DNA kit, the little kit. Someone convinced her to fill it. She filled it in, and it was probably some time because you were getting other hits.
Oh,
But
yeah,
what was
two
happening?
years.
So yeah, the way the universe works over time, I guess someone introduced the concept to our mother for her to get ancestry DNA done, and she did a kit, and so when her kit, I guess whenever you get a hit, a DNA hit, it's like ding ding, and they notify you and let you know. So that's when she found out about Anita Savage Swift, and then consequently, I waited till after all of this was found out. But Wendell, just to let you know how the universe works, Wendell had bought me an ancestry DNA kit for Christmas. Right, you are not in this live. Okay, anyway,
Mm.
she, you got to go, or get up in Earlene's lap. Wendell bought me an
It's a
ancestry DNA
shame, yeah.
kit for Christmas, and I had just been sitting on it. I hadn't used it yet, but after all this happened, I went ahead and took the test so I could kind of be in the loop and see how it showed up. But had my mother not done it, eventually, just how things get put in the atmosphere, I would have done it, and it would have all been found out. But it was interesting when Earlene made the call. It's like how something inside of you just knows something. Like I said, I've known her most of my life, and she's always, and I'm so glad that she's one of those people that has always been really supportive of me, online and otherwise. Like, I always felt like she was really genuine. I felt like a whole lot of people I went to school with were just literal assholes. Like, honestly, I don't know. But again, in another episode, we'll talk about different things. But I feel like East St. Louis, even though I'm proud of it, like being a strong Black city that's gone through a lot, because we were in the Catholic schools and among a certain group of people. I feel like they're very conservative. Like, looking at it now, like very conservative people, and very closed-minded, and I'm basically assholes. But Earlene was never that. Like, she was always really cool in grade school. She was an upperclassman that I kind of looked up to and had fun with. She was funny. She just seemed really free. And I have like a lot of things I've sort of blocked out of my mind, like from those years. But I have like little memories of maybe walking down the hall at the same time as her and laughing about something, or, like being somewhere at the same time. And then since we've been adults, like on Facebook, she's up when I did my monologue thing. She was just very supportive. And so when she called me on Facebook Messenger, it wasn't really strange, even though she normally doesn't call me. It was just a message saying, Shanice, can you call me soon as you get this message? And it was something about the way that she did that. It's like a knowing. It's like an underline. I was like, this is because maybe in the past I've looked at her and been like, You could be related to her.
That's not
Like
what
I
it
don't
is,
know. What
sissy.
is it? What is
But
it?
this is one of the things that that mommy has shared with me, and it is, we have a gift,
Hmm.
and I've always known that I was different. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And over the years, I've gotten more comfortable with it. We either cool or we not. I'm not gonna fake it with you. We
Hmm.
either get down or we don't. So this is a lot, because as soon as I sent her the message or whatever, I immediately thought back to the monologue, and I said, "Oh, shucks, that means that her mother, that my mama, so the mother that she was talking about in the monologue is me too." Oh wow. So I've always
Hmm.
felt different. Different is what they call you when they didn't know what to say. But now I know that it's special. And for some reason, I felt I felt something for this chick. Maybe it's because we had the same type of body issues at the time. And I know how I was as a what they call overdeveloped at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And that brings another issues, which is gonna be another show. But I just felt her for some reason. I just felt
Yeah.
her.
So it was like really cool. It was really cool finding out. And I think I posted something like immediately right then. And I knew, I was in a process of like setting boundaries with my mother for different reasons. And so it's weird because this was also a time that I feel like for Earlene, it was okay to be celebratory for whatever relationship or just in finding out. And I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to pour, like acid like on her situation, at the same time. And I wanted to, of course, we already had a relationship. This we literally knew each other. My mother did not know, out of all of the friends, or I say friends lightly, but people I knew in high school and grade school, interestingly enough, Earlene wasn't one of them. So she didn't really have a reference point. And I did, but I wanted to be sure that we had an opportunity to build and like develop our own relationship while she's also building relationship with our mother. But I want to say overall, I mean, there's a lot to still work on and figure out, but overall, it's been like a blessing, and I'm thankful to God, not in a religious way, but I'm just saying thankful to God, and really trusting. And I don't even know who this is for. Trusting, you know, just the way God handles things, because this has been a difficult time for me for a lot of different reasons. And
Oh, I'm not
I
naked,
have
y'all. I
a
do have on a top.
I have a small group of people that really help to hold me down. But things were really just personally getting very difficult. um and I know that God knows it, and then here this situation comes along, and God brings this, and I was like, this has to be for a reason. And I have to say, she has
Mhm.
been really nothing but a blessing, and a real genuine, unspoken, like, support, that I needed, really almost in a supernatural way. I don't know how else to say it. And as much as
Supernatural
I've
edge.
been nicknamed the Ice Princess by my mother, which I don't really give a fuck, but I'm just saying,
That's fun.
I was gonna try not to say fuck in this thing, but okay.
That's funny.
But
That's funny as heck, because Janice is so cool. And when I say cool, y'all, I mean she cool. Woo, woo. Yes,
but
okay.
yeah, as much as I am the Ice Princess, I really don't know what I would have done without you, and I'm really glad that you're here.
Thank you, sissy. Because I can't live with nobody else. I done told my draws with everybody. I can't go nowhere else. I had to leave St. Louis.
It's okay. You do get some things from your mother. I don't know what that is. I'm joking, but not.
Okay, that was a jugular.
No,
I'm
no, I'm not
bleeding
trying
right now
to.
from
No,
the jugular. She just cut
no,
my throat.
no. Seriously though, I.
I guess what's really freaky to me. She
Mhm,
said supernatural. I say freaky
mhm,
because what's really freaky to me
mhm.
about all of this, what's really freaky to me about all of this is that it's definitely been designed by God because it's been easy, but at the same time, it's been difficult. I didn't know. I left St. Louis last year around this same time of the year, going to Phoenix. And I didn't know what I was going to find in Phoenix. I wasn't sure. But across the miles, 2211, I think it was 2,211 miles across the miles. I did one of the things that I've learned to do. Manuela, I mention you again because see, my friends have given me gifts that I could never match. You cannot put a monetary value on someone who, see, God been working in my life this whole time. My father married Arnita Jackson, I believe it was. And my father had always taken me to visit people from St. Patrick's. And he took me to Jean Fraser House because we stopped there on the weekends.
Okay.
Hey, fish, we got, we did
Mhm.
those things, especially after my adoptive mother passed. And it just so happened that we went to Jean Fraser's house this time because her little cousin was visiting. And whenever her little cousin Brenda visited, I knew that we would always have a good time. And this one particular time that we went to visit, it, she brought her mother. So Jean Fraser, who had always been involved in my life because of the small Catholic community that we come from, I've always known her. She later becomes even more into the family because her and my stepmother were related. So,
Oh
so,
wow.
so, so, and my birth mother's name is Anita.
Mhm.
My stepmother, my mother, her name was Arnita, but people called her Anita. So I've been taken care of my entire time. But what was really freaky or supernatural was the fact I was not prepared for how much. When I did that video call with her and she came on camera and I saw this head with this blonde hair, I said, "Oh my God, she's even got blonde hair. We got short blonde hair together. How is
Mhm.
it that that a child that you carry in your womb for 9 months and however a month, how is it that you can impart you on a child that you never see, that you never saw?"
Right. So I'm so glad you said that. So let's talk about nature versus nurture. Well, in a
Wait a
bigger
minute. Wait a minute. Sissy, I love you. Oh, that's her nickname. Sissy. Sissy, I love you. And I love your education.
she's get the butt is coming.
But what did you just say we was getting ready to do?
Talk about not even nature versus nurture,
That means
but
what?
so like certain
That means
things you
what?
get by nature just from your parent because you are because we share because you share the same DNA. It's just natural, meaning from birth, right? And nurture is what somebody taught or put into you or poured into you over time that wasn't necessarily
Did nobody did nobody
natural.
did nobody I've been nurtured all my life.
Well, of course. So what I'm saying is certain things come from nurturing, but other things you just have that are just natural or hereditary. Would that be better if I say hereditary? There are certain things, certain traits and stuff that we have that are hereditary, and sometimes they may match
Bad check
some things that
writing.
are. Are you talking about things that come natural, nature?
For me,
Okay.
in my past, bad check writing, skipping out on bills. Y'all, please don't let nobody know where I am because I think I just left some bills out
Lord have
where I
mercy.
was. But uh, to the time that I was allowed to and I say allowed, and I'll tell you about that in another one. But the time that I was allowed to be around my birth mother, I was surprised at how much alike we were.
That's what I mean. So the
And
nature.
but it's scary because now I see it and I'm wondering, am I next? And I say that because she was, sweetheart, did they tell you that? Did you know that you have this? And do you know that you're really bipolar? Did you? And I always thought that there was something different. And now I know I've been bipolar. That,
And so then something to think about.
that
I won't answer it, but just certain things that are interesting when we start talking about, Earlene and I grew up differently. We went to the same schools, but we grew up really having different lives. And in a short little sidebar, I'll talk about how sometimes and we do this just in life in general, people romanticize about what somebody else's life might
uh-huh.
be like or
Yeah,
should be like. And, it even down to siblings or what have you. But
yeah.
we both live different lives, and it could have been that she romanticized, I'm not saying she did though, about what it would be like to live with people who look like you, who are like you, that you have things in common with, and have a certain knowing as family. And I may have imagined what it was like to live with somebody. I was always like, why am I the one that got kept? Why did I
And
have to
on the
stay
flip
here?
side of that, my mother told me, she said there was times in her life that she thought that she gave away the wrong one. And that was her
Oh,
way
wow.
of trying to say that it was difficult for
Yeah.
her.
So, we've both had a chance to talk about like how our lives were different, but trust that we both have really struggled. It hasn't been I may have a lot of achievements like on the outside and done these things, but just really struggled, and definitely mental health struggles. All the while, it's been it's been quite a rough road. And then Erlene and I have actually shared some experiences. So I'll, like I alluded to with mental health, I don't necessarily have the bipolar thing, but definitely struggle with, anxiety, major depressive disorder,
Mhm.
just feelings of abandonment, even though I was the child that was left, but I was also left with anybody and everybody and all the time. And then, we had a serious conversation about sexual assault and sexual abuse, which is something that we both share, that we've both gone through. And it's unfortunate
Hmm.
um, that
No tears.
by us going to the same school, we've even crossed some of the same, I'm going to be nice and call them gentlemen in this chat, but that have done the same things to both of us without being provoked. Because I don't care whether you think some little girl is fast or whether, but it comes from the era of people thinking just because you got big titties or whatever, you must be fucking or you must be whatever. But people really impose their sick, sadistic thoughts on us. And I see them as predators because they knew that we were weak. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but you know how people can see your vulnerabilities. They know when you're not really being
Especially if
taken
they're
care of, and they
predators.
know, yeah, they know
Especially
when
if
you're
they're
vulnerable.
predators.
Yeah. So um, we were having a talk earlier, just talking about, what it was like in that time. And I knew exactly what you were talking about earlier when you say somebody push you in the closet and then as many people fill up on you as they can. And they're looking and laughing. They're like, yeah, I did that. I did, and just like really the damage that's done in that, but you still pick up and you keep going and you still act like, well, at least I'm kind of accepted. It was just rough, like really rough. And so it's weird to me that we were both simultaneously having some really um serious struggles, and we were right there together, but didn't have the benefit of knowing that we were actually sisters
So check
in
this
the
out.
struggle.
Let's back up a little bit.
Okay, back it up, back it up.
We talked about God being involved in this.
Hmm.
The seventh grade, in comes this new teacher to the Catholic community by the name of Alice Green. By far my favorite teacher ever. And that lady kept her foot on my neck, literally. The next favorite teacher was Shelley Weathers. I love the way Miss Weathers walked down the hall, the daughter of a doctor, with the same body things that we had. But she carried hers. She Miss Weathers was Miss Weather was she was the girl, okay? And because my mother, my birth mother, never stopped talking about this daughter that she gave up with this birthmark in her head. I'm sitting in the classroom, and because Miss Weathers and Miss Green were already friends, they peeped this in my head, and they knew that they knew who I belonged to. And this is where things get muddled, and this is why we have things that happen the way that they do in our communities. They discussed it amongst themselves as to whether or not to let my mother know that they had seen me, and because they were best friends with my mother. So that's really surreal to me because Miss Green was very instrumental to my upbringing. She encouraged me to be on the speech teams. She encouraged me to continue to do. She encouraged me to continue to be special, not different, just special. And over the years, I've jokingly said that there have been 3 to 4 different personalities trapped inside me, and those those feelings are developed when you leave the coat room closet where they just pulled on your titties and your booty, and you put on this face to make it all okay. So I wore the face that it was all okay. When Miss Green took me to 5715 Ohio Avenue, she saw that I was in a beautiful home, 2-car garage, mother, father. She probably smelled food because my mother had food prepared for my father, by dinner time. And she was like, you know what? We're gonna leave her right where she's at, but we gonna watch her. And they did. They watched and they input. They watched and they poured in. And I'm thankful they watched and they poured in from a distance. But at the same time, that lets you know that God was still involved because Miss Green encouraged me to enter speech competitions, and to and I done did everything. I'm 53, and I think I done had 53 jobs. I can't do nothing else. Ain't nothing else for me to
Yeah.
do. Ain't nothing else for me to do but this.
So that's
But
been
I'm
the
here with
thing.
my sister.
Hmm.
And when we were in the car going to Pensacola to meet my birth mother, I looked over at her, and I just kept, while she was driving, I just kept looking at her, and I was like, "When did you learn how to drive a stick?" And she said, "Oh, that's one of the things that our mother made sure that she taught me how to do."
Hmm.
Did nobody ever teach me how to drive no stick shift?
Well, look, that I was getting ready to say something else. Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna stay on that. Yeah, she taught me how to drive a stick, and
Okay, that's all we need. That's all we needed for that. My
okay,
daddy kept telling me
I'm
that he
gonna
was going to teach me how
I'm
to do
gonna
that, but
be
he
good.
didn't do that.
But
Oh, and because check this out. Because I had watched the monologue that she did, when I got an opportunity to talk with my birth mother, I had to ask her, "Do you know who my father is?"
Mhm.
And she said, "Yes, without a doubt, I know who your father is. His name is Ronald Prowell, Prowell.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, I have affectionately called him Pops. I say called, but I call him Pops because he and I are in communication. I haven't heard his voice yet, but I'm in communication with him on a regular basis. And I'm
Yeah.
sure he's going to see this. Hey, Pops. Okay.
And I
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry. I started to say, I was looking at her while she was driving, and I
yeah.
asked her, how does she learn how to drive a stick? And she told me how. And what happened?
Oh, you switched it to where it's now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, there
Uh-huh.
we go.
Mhm.
And she told me, and I got a little jealous at the point. And then I said, Sissy, I said, what am I going to do in Atlanta?
And I said, we'll figure it out.
She said, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, so all of it's a real. We still have some talking to do and like writing things down. My memory is really, really bad. Like it's for the best. I mean, it was for the best in the moment for me to just kind of like not remember certain things, but I am thankful for these things. So she talks about Shelley Weather. So Shelley is actually I'm her namesake. My name is Shanice Shelley, so named after her. And of course, Aunt Alice was very instrumental in my life. I didn't know all of these things were going on at the time or that they were all
In cahoots.
intertwined. Yeah, it was and I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm on some other level with this conversation, but I want to say that sometimes people think they always know what's best, like the best way to do something. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. Like, people have a percent. Everything isn't all
Sorry,
one
y'all. I had
way
to get my
for
co-star.
everybody. Oh, all the time. Um, whether, adoption is best or keeping a child or not having a child, but at the end of the day, we all freaking struggled um, in that. But I will say that um, I've seen God's hand on it, but it's just, it's almost even eerie just how close because Earlene is actually in the school. She's actually class of 86 and I'm class of 88. I was born in 1970. I was born January 11th, 1970, and your birthday is what, January 4th,
Yeah.
1969. Oh, what
Ooh.
happened? January 4th. That's you can put it in here. January 4th. Oh, what did I do? Okay, sorry. We're just
Okay,
okay.
there we go.
January 4th, 1969. But I think
11 months apart.
so. I think you said they changed something in your
Oh,
records
oh,
to
oh,
make you
oh,
be
oh,
class of
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
86,
yeah.
so you could be.
So I was always, I didn't find out that I was born in 1969 till my senior year in high school. And I had to go and get my birth certificate in order to get my driver's license. Coach Munkin, yay, Coach
I
Munkin,
don't know what the fuck. What the
Jimmy
hell?
Munkin, uh, uh, big ups to your father. Coach Munkin he taught us driver's ed. And in order for me to get my driver's license, I had to show my birth certificate. And I looked at my birth certificate and I was like, I was born in 69. I always thought it was 68. Come to find out that I was told because my adoptive mother and I don't mean to be putting these names, these terms in front of things, but I want you to
So
understand
you can know who's being
the change.
discussed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So my adoptive mother changed my birth date from 69 to 68 because she said she wanted me to start school early because with my birthday being in January, I wouldn't have been able to start school on time. But now looking back on it again, how do I know that Gladys Hampton was not the nurse that removed me from my birth mother's arms? One, how do I uh process all of this because that missing piece, those questions that I could ask of Gladys, I can no longer ask because Gladys ain't here. So I've had to rely upon what I was told as a child. coming on, even into my adulthood. It took my freshman year of high school. I was out of place. Because when we got to high school, I wasn't the smartest in my class anymore. I was among the smartest of those, and it was some that were even smarter than me. So I felt like since I wasn't that smart, then I must be like these other children in school. And that's when I tried marijuana for the first time. That's when I tried to do different little things. And then I realized that that wasn't me either. So by the time I got to be a senior, I had pretty much figured out that this is how I was going to be. What was just me, that comedic nature. Yeah, I got class clown, and I've lived up to it for many years. But uh, that just meant that I was special, not different, just special.
Yeah, so this is just a little bit about the story as we are beginning this new journey, and learning each other and sharing information about family. And it's a good opportunity for me to actually open up, I guess, and be more vulnerable. That's not a thing that I normally do, but it's good for the soul. So um, I am happy about it. And it does allow me to, um, like, I don't know, have some relief that it's sort of like unspeakable relief. I mentioned this before when the news first came out. I'm not a placeholder anymore. I think a lot of my life always felt out of place, but I was holding this place for the oldest child, for the whatever. I'm not holding that place anymore. I can kind of just like go back into being feel like I can just be me. I'm not taking the place of another child, even in my mother's mind. Like, I don't know what was going on in her head or her mind. It ain't like we were that super close or anything anyway. So, um, but I don't feel as responsible. Not saying I should have ever felt responsible in the first place, but I don't feel as responsible. I feel a little bit more relaxed. I feel like this is like crazy. These things are happening all over the world, but it rarely happens when people find out they share the same mother. A lot of times it happens with the fathers with the same mother. So it's a lot, and it's happening at 52 or 50 and 53, but we want to get the most mileage of it out of it. We want to get whatever God is trying to teach us or show us in this moment and fulfill whatever purpose this is meant for. So that's me, Miss Serious. That's kind of like how I'm looking at it. This has got to be for a purpose, because why wait till now? When we're 52 and 53 years old, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to get out of this? Maybe it was meant for this time. I think if my grandmother had known we were going to find this out, she would have flipped her wig for sure. But it all happened in this time after she's gone. So I just want to make sure we do whatever we're supposed to do with it, and that whatever that we are as authentic as we can be in this journey, and that we are able to share parts of it as we go along. So today we started by doing something we've never done
Sissy,
before.
did 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 Grammy have white hair?
She had white hair for most of the second half of her life. Well, after she was like in her 50s and 60s. Yeah, she had white hair. Grammy wore wigs a lot. That was no mystery. But later on, she started wearing like the white, gray, I would say more white, like platinum white hair wigs. And even underneath her wigs, though, her hair was long and always stayed in two braids. And it was really the family grays really early. My hair is like it just won't make up its mind. Like, it's really salt and pepper in certain places and not in others. So I just decided my whole thing with going blonde was that the gray is easier on lighter hair. A lot of time the contrast white hair, and it's not even gray. The white hair with the black hair, sometimes it's such a hard contrast. I just was tired of the look. I didn't mind being gray. I actually wanted, when I turned 50, I tried to go totally gray, but my hair just wouldn't consistently grow in that way. So that was I know, because you got your hand up. You need the thing I have right here.
Hmm.
Um so I decided to do blonde, and that was before, yeah, I knew anything was anything
All three
with
of
us.
us,
But
all three of us got blonde hair. All three.
but
All three got fingernails. All three got all y'all, all y'all that tease me about my second toe being longer than my big toe.
this girl's crazy.
I finally found out why. It's because that's what my mother has.
Yeah,
So
she's in
so yeah, I got it from somebody. And all of you who graciously said that I looked just like Earl or I looked just like Arnita, thank you for trying to make me feel part of the family because I didn't look like either one of them.
That's funny.
But that's what people tell you because
Yeah, I get it. I actually think you look more like our mother than I do. I'm
and
okay with
it
that.
is absolutely
I have strong Fisher
re-
genes as well.
it is absolutely ridiculous how much we look alike. I cannot believe it. She called me her mini me. I've never known for a mother to have a junior before, but I am truly, truly, now I know my mother's child. And all of you that know that I'm crazy or have ever called me crazy, you don't know how right you were.
And I want to
Anyway,
say, yeah, that's cool. I guess I got to say to people. So some of the well, maybe that's for another live. The lessons to get out of it, because I just think I don't know. I'll wait. Yeah, I'll
okay.
save that. Like, we are our mother's child, but we are also our own individuals. And I think a lot of pain has been associated with being my mother's child. And I think
I did tell when Sissy first started talking to me, I have to give her praise for not giving me the whole story all at once and allowing me the opportunity to find out what the deal was. And she told me that she said I only do our mother in and I was like, okay, I got you. So
But it's not that. It's just like each person too is allowed to have their own identity. And if I feel like I was robbed of anything, like coming up, and without trying to make myself be a victim and all of that, is that people would only see me as Anita's child. Like that's something to play with and toy with and fuck around, or mess over. And I don't. And I may be her child, but I don't. For me, you're a little bit. I don't have the same tenacity and stuff that she had when it comes to certain situations. Now, don't fucking push me too far, but I don't have that. But people will look and assume you're this because East St. Louis is that kind of small town, and because people's parents talk, everybody takes you to be whatever somebody thought about you, and I think that kind of shit is dead. That's whack. And I hope people have grown like to be better than that. But but there are things that I've gotten from our mother that I can be proud about or laugh about, and at the same time, I'm still here. So whatever the case may be, I'm
y'all
still
check
here.
this out. Check this out. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what's really going on. Oh Lord, I didn't hit the
No,
button.
here you go, right here. Wait, do that now. There you
Okay,
go.
let me tell you what's really interesting is that Shanice put aside her personal stuff in order to bring me to meet our mother. And I really give her a lot for that because once you put uh, a situation to rest or to bed, so to
Hmm.
speak, but then you're willing to pull back the covers and still allowed people to sleep in that bed, even though we just put the comforter on top. We didn't change the sheets. We just put a comforter on top. So I'm glad that she pulled back that comforter, uh, and allowed me to meet my birth mother and allow me to see. I told people for years that I couldn't wait to get my Antoine Fisher moment. And, and,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and I had my Antoine Fisher moment because I was sitting at the head of the table while we all shared our first meal together.
You
But
right.
in that Antoine Fisher movie, Antoine Fisher
That's
didn't
one of
pay.
my favorite movies.
Mine too, but Antoine Fisher didn't pay for shit. But thanks to my mommy and thanks to my blessings, I paid for my Antoine Fisher moment. And like he said in the movie, if I'll never see her again, I'm cool with that too.
You did not feel that way.
Shit.
I don't think you feel that way.
I
There's
told you
something.
that I was going. I told you that you didn't have to worry about
Yeah,
handling mommy from here. That I would
right.
handle
You
it
did
from
say that.
here. But you need to get me some medical, some mental
Yeah.
help so that I can continue to. I think I'm. My birth mother told me. She said, uh, in one of the times that we've talked, she said, when they took you from me, I felt a loss. She said, and I've done things to try to fill that hole, to try to fill that void. And that's deep because it I thought that once I got there, that would start to fill the void. But her hole is quicksand. And if you jump in to save her, you're gonna sink too.
Mm.
So I have to make sure that the lifelines that I throw to my birth mother are going to be strong enough to pull us both out. Because I'm at the edge and I'm like, if you pull too hard, I'm gonna be in that quicksand with you. And I feel like I've been in quicksand the majority of my life, which is why I haven't been able to put down actual roots and stay anywhere and hold a job and do this or do that or change careers or so what I'm saying is ZipRecruiter fired me.
This one right here. Where did that come from?
What the hell else am I
I
gonna
know
do?
that's true. Um, that's true.
Okay, y'all. So
Keep going. I'm sorry.
so ZipRecruiter fired me. But they fired me at the time that I needed to be fired, I guess, because I needed this time to. You know what? If I would have just taken that week vacation, and we did this during the week, and then I went back to fit to Phoenix, I don't think we would have healed. ZipRecruiter fired me. God told Zip. God, my mama told me that my birth mother told me that my father's name was Jesus. So
I
since
know
Jesus is
she
my
done told
father,
you some.
Jesus
Okay. Okay.
interceded and he told ZipRecruiter to fire me so that I could spend time fixing this.
No, 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 no. Okay, but let's go back. So, while that's the case, and she said that, how many days did you spend with her tops? How many days? How many days did you spend with her? And then what did she say? Hey, Keisha. Hey, I got on my glasses so I can kind of see. I don't know who else.
um,
Deani wasn't here. They might have been gone to
After
bed.
spending about
Okay.
3 days with
Mm-hmm.
with my birth mother, and she told me that she really and that was in Pensacola, Florida. So that was my first time putting my feet in the sand on a beach, looking at the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. It took me a moment to walk out into the water and walk into the sand, and that's a little bit more than what I'm prepared for right now. Oh, Brenda, do I sound like me when you took her to see the ocean and she said, "Oh, I'm good," and she would even get out the car? Yeah, I'm
And then what
that
happened?
was from nurture.
And then what happened?
What happened? What when I took off walking?
No, I'm talking about. So then, what? Y'all were there for like 2 days. Then I had a whole like medical emergency thing with Carl here most of the week. But then y'all came back Saturday
We
for
came
us to
back for
do
the
the
photo
photo
shoot.
shoot because I had already planned it. Which once you changed your ticket to go back later, though, I really could have changed the photo shoot, even though that was just one of the main things that I was going to participate in. But you had more days, but your mother brought you here because why? What did she say? She brought you back here because she said what?
She said your sister needs you.
Okay, and she was going where? She was going back to Pensacola to do.
She's 70, and she told me that she was tired of being a mother and a grandmother. She had to get back to Pensacola
Get your
because
tablet.
she had to get her son.
Get the
I
tablet.
ain't gonna tell you what son it is,
Get the
but
tablet.
it's
Get the tablet, Jack. Go downstairs and get it.
she brought me back here because she said she needed to get some. Really, real talk. And I got pissed. I said, how is it that a 70-year-old woman has a very active sex life and
Okay.
I'm 53, beautiful, beautiful personality. Yeah, my booty big, but that don't mean nothing. Don't be scared of the big booty. Here I am, y'all. And I've been driving 2.5 weeks. 2.5 years, I'm sorry. 2.5 years. So I waited 53 years to meet my mother, and she said she had to get some.
Well, so hence we are here
And yes, my sissy
spending this
did need
time
me
together.
because I got a chance to meet my brother in law. No hate on Curtis. You are excellent brother in law. And you and Brenda have really shown me what it is like to be a part of family. And I mean, I've been to almost every function. And if anybody was drinking out of a brown paper bag, did nobody go nowhere, did nobody get mad, did nobody fight, the police wasn't called, none of that.
You've been blessed. So
First
this is all
family issue
different.
here. And what happened?
Look,
But this time she couldn't say that um, it didn't happen because I saw it. And
yeah.
and 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 Shanice is much too nice to talk to to talk to our mother the way that I did. And yes, some of you may think that it was disrespectful. And at the same time, I had to go to God at the end of the night and ask God to forgive me for those words. But those words that I used were the words that got through to her, and she finally heard me. And what's been most surprising about it all is that I'm meeting my autistic nephew for the first time. And I see so much of myself in him because I see how frustrated it is to want to say something or figure out how to do it, and you just can't figure it out. And I hear all of those things that we do in a matter of seconds. It may take him 5 minutes to do, because he has to realize that the cup is empty. Now I need to go get ice. Am I going to be able to get it myself, or does my mother have to get it? And then I notice that when he hears us loudly talking, even if it's not arguing, he comes in the room and he laughs to try to make all of us laugh. And that's his way of de-escalating the situation. And it's really funny because I use my comedy to de-escalate a lot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Mhm.
So I see myself in this
And
autistic child.
it's actually good. Actually, it's good for everybody. It's good for the whole house. I actually do have a sense of humor, but it's probably very dark. And as you all, since I am the ice princess, it's okay. But yeah,
But let me
I
tell
have to
y'all
be on the
this.
move.
Since I've been here, And since we've been talking, my sister hasn't just laughed from here. This is the Shanice that you all know. When she laughs, she says,
Whatever.
she's got that teacher
Whatever.
laugh. That, but since I've been here, she'd be like this.
Hmm.
And I asked her, I said, when was the last time you let your hair down? And just really laughed from the gut. And she said, it's been a long time. So, mommy,
Hmm.
thank you. Because yes, my sissy did need me. And I'm here for her.
And we're over an hour, so it's time for us to go.
All right.
But we'll be more organized, and really have some real themes when we come back on again and just talk about this experience and continue to
Oh,
update
wow.
on finding more family members and, just different chapters like in this journey. It's not all done. We're really just at the beginning. But I just wanted to chime in real time, like not like an organized video and stage poses, but just to really talk about. I don't know. I should have asked, does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions that maybe we can answer before we sign off? Any questions about anything?
Pop me a question,
Thoughts or
and you
questions?
DM me if you got some questions. I'll answer you. And tell Tyler Perry to call me.
Lord, we do not want Tyler Perry to call. That's not what we want. That's not the one we want.
Okay.
Love him, but
Oprah,
for the
call
culture,
me.
but
Iyanla Van Zant, call me. Dr. Phil, I'm calling you. This some
you're
Jerry Springer stuff right here.
we're doing good right now.
Okay.
All right, so look, you don't have no questions. Okay, they'll come in your DMs. Any questions, we'll answer them later, or maybe the next live. Maybe we'll be able to pull off another live on Saturday because you leave on Sunday.
Yes, I do.
Yes, so maybe we can pull something off on Saturday.
On Sunday, I'll be flying back to my home in Peoria, Arizona,
Hmm?
where I live with people who told me that I wasn't just staying with them. They told me that I had a room. This is your room. This is your bathroom. So I'm going back there until I can figure out how to get all my stuff here. Okay.
Bye bye
Love
now.
y'all. Deuces.